right thing. You know, the right
law
laws,
and legal,
of
course. I mean, are we talking law or legal?
Law.
Okay.
Legality is something completely different.
Well,
Law.
so in other words, what you're saying is fundamentally you believe we should have a lawful structure in our existence, in our lives, to prevent men having to do battle over resources.
Correct. And we do have that.
We do.
It's
have already automatically in us.
Correct. It's in me and you and the people that walk down the street.
Absolutely.
You know, it's in us to be lawful, mostly. And
well, just
when
on
we
that,
see
Darrel, how much lawlessness, if you will, do you think is generated from the world of commerce as opposed to the amount of lawlessness that is generated just from social interaction?
I think the lawlessness is a direct result of the legality, indirect and direct. Because I think the problems we're having in what people would call society. We discussed this the other day about certain, we say, constructs in certain cities, certain locations, certain families. They're as a direct result of social degradation. And social degradation comes about because of legality. And lawlessness comes about because of legality. If people weren't living with poverty to start with, and if people had enough in terms of food and comfort, you know, people would be...
Well, absolutely. If you have enough, why would you take from your neighbour if you have plenty?
Yeah, you would. You have enough clothing, warmth, heat. It's not even a matter of society then. It's just being men and women and enjoying life for what it's supposed to be. That's it. And education, you see, social degradation isn't just about, well, poverty and all that. It's about education as well. And fundamentally, I think that apart from, we'll say, your children and my children perceivably grow up, the perception will be kind of middle class. Okay, that's my interpretation. You know, if you could classify it, and I know that in the middle class society, inverted commas, the education is not. It's not even poor. It's actually, as far as I'm concerned, non-existent. There isn't education in what we call schools. Okay, so when you go down into the so-called social structures, go below the middle class, go into the poor perceived classes, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing for people there. Nothing. Now, equally, I think people should be there to create something for themselves as well. But when you're growing up...
Well, would you agree that a lot of what you're talking about there, that some people tend to sit there and wait because everything's being provided for them, the housing has been provided and the school system is provided, all these things are provided, healthcare, that they don't see that they should actually get up and create themselves. They lose that ability.
But that's the education, you see. That's the indoctrination. That's the programming that, you know, you handle this stuff. Look, I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Do you think the idea that everybody keeps being told, oh, you have a right to this, you have a right to that, and you have a right to the other, and therefore they say, fine, give me my rights.
Yeah.
And then, and then when you don't give them some of their rights, they complain.
Yeah.
But they lose that ability to say, well, I'm not getting this, so I need to create it.
Or I need to go and get it somewhere else or do something else in an honourable way, of course. But look, honour is basically down to, you know, the conditioning you're exposed to, you know. That's all it is. And again, I don't castigate anybody that's being brought up in any location in Ireland that's got social degradation. You know, I know that it's a result of the finance and the commercial system. That's all it is. Because you take a child, you know, and what's his name? What's the name of the guy, the psychologist who studied child development? Not Maslow, is it? There's another guy out there. And, you know, you can see from the old videos as well, the way he himself treated babies, you know. And he recognized that you can take a baby and turn them into anything you want. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. You can train them, you condition them, and all the rest of it.
It even falls into the realms of psychopath to even take others, you know, unique humans, men, women, and to do these things to them just to find out what will happen. That to me is psychotic.
Yes, and that's what he did.
Yeah,
that's what he did. And you know, there's actually videos of him on YouTube. You know, under a video called, I think it's called Behaviorism or Behavior or something like that. And people should have a look at it.
Well, they make all these grandiose claims that, oh, we're doing it for the good of humanity and whatnot.
I know.
But actually they're not.
No. Well, we inherently know when you're born, you know, there's this question, it's gone through my mind for a long time, but what is sovereign?
Yeah.
And you're sovereign, you know, the day you're born, because you know that, you know, you're entitled to everything.
Yeah.
You know, you can get everything. Everything is there.
Yeah.
You know, a baby cries, they get fed. Baby cries, they get changed. Baby cries, they get washed. Baby cries, they go to bed. They get their needs met.
It's just when you're an adult, when you're of age, you're not supposed to cry anymore. You're supposed to be in a position to provide.
Yeah, or get provided
and
for.
The commercial system well, you see, I don't call it commercial system on its own anymore. I call it, I'm sure you've probably heard me refer to it as the commercial, legal, political system.
Commercial, legal, political system.
Yeah, because it's with the media thrown in. It's one system.
Yeah.
It's just the north, south, east and west of one system.
The mechanism. Machine. Okay. Let's not get... All right. I like going off tangents sometimes. It's good. Let's see, where were we? Because I wonder if listen, before we get to the end of this, I know we're going to come to the end of it soon. We probably should have said this in the beginning as well, is that the culmination of writing this book culminated in the bank, I suppose, I don't know the right word for it, writing off the mortgage or dismissing it or redeeming it.
They seem to have let it go.
Let it go. Let it go is the right word, I suppose. And I think we might be able to put a link either on the video or else a copy of that letter if you want.
I'll put a link below the video for that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we'll get to the end of this, and there might be other things we can talk about. There probably is one or two other points to make. So the reasoning then for me writing and chronologically writing down what happened in the process was because I was fearful that if they got me into court, that I would end up in contempt of court, say something that I wasn't supposed to say, and they'd lock me up. And I think, as you commented on this before, Vin, they would see that as an opportunity to lock me up, especially if they got me into court, because it would shut me up. And anybody that was listening to what I had to say would then be fearful and probably say nothing or do nothing.
Yeah.
So it was, as far as I was concerned, it was just it's a tool. I used it as a tool or a device to protect myself. It seems to have done the trick, because they seem to have faded away. Much as I've tried to make them aware of this, the book went as a soft copy and a digital copy. I sent the book to Richie Boucher, who's the CEO of the Bank of Ireland, or was, or is, I'm not sure. Finbar Murphy, he's the head of Group Legal Services, got a copy as well. And Anya McInerney got a copy. Also, Ken Murphy of the Law Society got a copy. Ivor Fitzpatrick got a copy. Both of those people got soft copies and digital copies. And we've since done interviews with the secretaries of Richie Boucher, the secretary of Ivor Fitzpatrick, or the PAs, their office. And we've asked them the questions about the book. We've asked them to verify the existence of the book and whether or not the questions were legitimate questions, if the questions were answered, so on and so forth. But they haven't commented. It's the usual thing. They won't respond. So I think that's more or less the crux of it, isn't it? Vin, is there anything else we need to throw in there?
Well, just your overall opinion of... First of all, how many copies of the book are out there, Darrel, roughly?
Well, I reckon... I think I've done 3 batches of 300, so there'll be at least 1,000 copies, soft copies, okay? And I'm printing up another batch as well for next week. In terms of digital copies, it went viral on Facebook.
Okay. And
it's still out there on Facebook. I don't know, maybe 50,000, 100,000 copies are out there at the moment. But I don't know where it's gone. I know that it's featured on TNS.ning.com. It's on TNS as well, as far as I know. Mm-hmm. I've got it uploaded to 2 other independent sites, maybe 3, and there's another 5 or 6 that I know of. It's out there and then I've got it as its own free download on bankofireland.me. So,
and of course, now it'll be going on YouTube. People will be able to pause the video and read the book, or just,
YouTube should have proliferated a lot more. And again, what I'll say is, if you wouldn't mind putting on the video, and you probably will now because I've said it, put on my email address, which is darrel@thecommonlawsociety.com. That's darrel@thecommonlawsociety.com. I've had 3 or 4 other email addresses, but they have been shut down for one reason or another.
But that one's still good.
That one's still good, and hopefully it will be for another while longer. So it's darrel@thecommonlawsociety.com.
Okay.
My number is in the book. My telephone number is in the book. So if people do need to ring, they're more than welcome to ring. And I'll endeavour to get back to them within 24 hours if they ring or they email. Now, I won't guarantee it, but I'll try my best to get back to anybody that rings or emails asking any questions within 24 hours.
Okay, and your plans for the future, Darrel, in relation to...
Okay. My plan for the future is I've dedicated 99% of my time, and I don't want my wife to hear this. I'm dedicating the a large proportion of my time, working time, if you like, to going around, meeting people, teaching people, educating people, giving people knowledge, to broadcasting the information via tnsradio.ning.com, doing radio interviews all over the place. I'm physically going around the country in Ireland, and physically, if the opportunity arises, I'll do the UK and any other country for that matter. Doing workshops with yourself, Vin, and doing talks. I just want to get this information out there. It's not perfect. That's all I can say to you. It's a process that worked for me. I can't honestly say that I think it would work again. I don't know if it would work again for anybody else. I do know that it's worked on hundreds of occasions at this stage for writing off all unsecured debt. Secured debt is always different. This is mortgage and we'll say HP agreements on cars and transport and all that. So unsecured debt is extremely easy to deal with. Okay, you just need a bit of persistence with it, but you can deal with it effectively. Unsecured debt is a bit more difficult because there's a physical asset involved here, and the banks know that there's actually something physically they can get hold of. It can be dealt with, and between myself and what Vin has done in the past and the more recent history of showing people and helping people and teaching people, there's methods, there's processes, and there's a solution out there for everyone. And I think that's probably an appropriate way to end it, Vin, to say that for people out there who are feeling, as we discussed earlier, suicidal, this is a potential solution for them.
It's a potential lifesaver.
A potential lifesaver. It's probably a better way to put it.
This information could literally save your life, folks.
Yeah, and certainly there are solutions out there for everybody. There is no problem exists without a solution.
Well, there's no bank manager, Darrel, who's going to save your life. He's just going to look you in the eye and he's going to say, "Oh, that's a crying shame. Pay up."
Yeah, that's it. It's terrible, isn't it? A bit like Joe Duffy. It's terrible. It's awful.
Oh, it's shocking.
Shocking.
Shocking. Next caller.
Next caller. And that's exactly it. But there is solutions here. The solutions with tnsradio.ning.com. The solutions with the bankofireland.me. You just have to start asking questions, lads. Be it off Vin, myself, Harry, the other radio show hosts. Ask questions. For Christ's sake, ask questions.
Well, we're just approaching 2 hours, 26 minutes on this, Darrel, so I think we'll knock this on the head.
Sounds well. That's great.
Okay, so just sign off.
Thanks very much, Vin. Listen, it's a pleasure as usual, and thanks very much, folks, for listening in. And once again, it's www.tnsradio.ning.com.